The next time you dab on some perfume, drink a cup of coffee, or write down a digit between 0 and 9, thank a Muslim. While Europe was groping along through the Dark Ages, diverse scholars gathered or were summoned to Baghdad's House of Wisdom to preserve knowledge of classical civilizations and to make advances in many academic disciplines that are still relevant today. And that was just one of many centers of learning established during Islam's Golden Age. Islam began in the Arabian Peninsula in 610 CE and spread quickly through conquest and conversion, whether willing or forced. Within a century, Muslims controlled an empire stretching from Spain to China. The Abbasid Caliphate gained control in 750 and moved the empire's capital from Damascus to Baghdad. During this dynasty, trade and ideas flowed freely across the empire, which spanned 3 continents. The Abbasids appropriated many of the best ideas from lands they conquered, as well as those of late antiquity, to form an advanced Islamic culture, with participation and contributions from people of many ethnicities and religions. Despite some ethnic conflict, such as the 1066 massacre of Spanish Jews, the Arab world promoted both Muslim and non-Muslim scholars who made significant achievements in art and literature, science and medicine, and mathematics. Islam's Golden Age began with the Abbasid Caliphate in 750 CE and lasted until the Mongol invasion in 1258. Islamic religious tradition discourages the depiction of human figures in religious art, so Muslim artists developed or adopted many unique decorative elements. The art of glass blowing was perfected. Miniature paintings adorned glass, silver, brass, and ivory objects. Manuscripts were often written in calligraphy and painstakingly illuminated. Royal robes and other textiles feature lavish embroidery. But the Golden Age of Islam is especially well known for architecture, which combines many of these other art forms. Islamic buildings of this era borrow domes and arches from the Byzantine Empire and are adorned with calligraphy, geometric designs, and arabesques. A good example is the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. Built in 691 CE on top of Judaism's holiest site, this shrine is at once a political statement, a religious monument, and a display of grandeur. Its outer walls were originally tiled, as seen in a modern restoration. The exterior of the dome was once lead and was replaced by varying metals throughout time. Today, the dome is covered in gold leaf. The interior of the dome is decorated with mosaics and calligraphy. The Golden Age also produced many literary achievements, beginning with the 5th Abbasid ruler when the House of Wisdom opened. After learning the Chinese art of papermaking, Islamic scholars tried to gather and translate all of the world's knowledge into Arabic, resulting in the preservation of many classical works of antiquity from China, India, and Greece, including Aristotle and Plato. Muslim writers also made commentaries, adapted folk tales from around the empire, and composed original literature. The most famous literary achievement from this era may be 1001 Nights, known to many Westerners as the Arabian Nights, which is a collection of both original and adapted stories, including Aladdin and the Magic Lamp, Sinbad, and Ali Baba. Libraries and bookstores were common in Baghdad, suggesting an uncommonly high literacy rate among the public. Scholars at the Islamic learning centers also contributed to the scientific world. They dabbled in chemistry and alchemy and excelled in astronomy and medicine. They studied ideas from Greece, Iran, and Persia to improve scientific instruments, such as an astrolabe for telling time. They refined earlier methods for recording scientific observations, leading to accurate calculations for the movements of the sun, moon, and the 5 known planets. Islamic scholars analyzed Ptolemy's model of the universe. They studied eclipses and calculated the circumference of the Earth. These achievements were applied to other disciplines, including agriculture, physics, and even astrology. Pursuing the philosophy that for every disease Allah has given a cure, Islamic scientists made significant achievements in medical practice and education, as well as pharmacology. Once again, they made extensive study of existing work and then built upon that knowledge with their own experience and theory. Especially in Baghdad, but also in other areas of the empire, specialists in fields ranging from ophthalmology to dentistry, psychiatry to orthopedics treated injuries and illness. There were hospitals with emergency rooms and surgical facilities, which paid attention to hygiene and sanitary conditions. They experimented with cardiology and neurology. One doctor named Avicenna compiled the Canon of Medicine, which became Europe's authoritative medical textbook for more than 500 years. Physicians attended medical school and had to pass exams before getting a license to treat patients. By the 12th century, pharmacology emerged as a separate discipline, with achievements as fundamental as mixing sweet syrup with bitter medicine and as radical as anesthesia. Despite all of these accomplishments, perhaps the most significant Islamic contribution to the West was in mathematics. Most of the developed world today writes numbers using the digits 0 through 9. We commonly call them Arabic numerals, but they were actually adapted from India. An Italian scholar studying in a Muslim library encountered the digit system and recognized its significant improvement over their Roman numeral system. His publication of Arabic numbers in 1202 resulted in their widespread acceptance across Europe. An Islamic scholar perfected modern algebra, again based on the work of ancient scholars. His textbook distinguished algebra as a separate discipline and became the defining authority on the subject for hundreds of years. Other mathematicians pursued geometry and trigonometry. They also used the decimal system. Between the 8th and 13th centuries, the Abbasid dynasty oversaw the golden age of Islam. Muslim scholars, especially in Baghdad's House of Wisdom, studied the works of classical antiquity and other cultures throughout the empire, and then added their own experience, insight, and analysis. The result was a flowering of Islamic culture, the preservation of knowledge through Europe's dark ages, and important achievements in the fields of art and literature, science, and medicine. The most significant Islamic contribution to the West may be in mathematics, as Muslim scholars refined the Arabic number system used by most of the world today and developed algebra.